You are listening to This is Oklahoma, hosted by Mike Hearn, telling stories of Oklahomans and those that have made it their home.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma. Mike Hearn here, your host, back with another episode. Exciting news. This podcast is presented by the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, who have been telling Oklahoma's story through its people since 1927. Follow them online at oklahomahof.com, and then definitely follow them on Instagram for all the information that you need, because I'm sure that's where you follow us as well, at oklahomahof. Let's get into today's episode.
Sat here with Les Thomas Sr. So you have a junior then, right?
Yes, sir. I have a son. I can't tell you his age. That'll give my age away.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out today. I know you're a busy man.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
I guess most people listening would know you as voice of OSU games on the field.
Yes, sir.
I'm bring a lot of energy.
Yeah. For some reason, they trust me with a microphone.
How'd you get into that stuff? Like, did you go to OSU growing up?
No, so I've been a fan since the late 90s. Several of my friends played football there. That's what made me become an OSU fan.
Okay.
And then I want to say maybe 2014 or so, I started doing chapel for the football team on at home games. Mm-hmm. And so on game day, I would come in, bring an inspirational word, and then I believe it was Ramon Richards, because I would do music too, because I'm an artist.
Yeah.
So Ramon was like, "You should do a song for OSU." And man, when he said that, it just hit me like, "Duh, why haven't you done a song for OSU?" Right. So I did "Let's Go Pokes," and when I did that, it opened up the doors with the administration outside of football. And I was at a basketball game, and a lady walked up to me and she was like, are you B-less? And I was like, "Yes, ma'am, I'm B-less." And she asked me if I had announced before, and I said no, I had never been an announcer. And but I said, but I don't shy away from a microphone. You know? I travel and do motivational speaking. I do music. I rap. So anyway, long story short, she asked me, was I interested in trying out, because Matt, the guy who was doing a great job before me, he had resigned from the position. And she asked me, did I want to try out? Long story short, 4 months later, I'm trying out in front of 6 people in Boone Pickens Stadium, man. Yeah. And they gave me the script the day before.
Oh, no way. 6 people as well?
6 people, man. I tried out in front of 6 people. Yeah. They told me the week before that they was going to send me the script. Man, they sent me the script the day before. And I'm a perfectionist. Right. And I didn't want to read off of a script. And they said, man, we don't expect you to memorize this thing, just kind of be familiar with it. And I used to do stage plays, so I have this remedy that I use to remember things. Mm-hmm. And, man, they gave me, the script had about 5 or 6 paragraphs. It's not like 1 or 2 sentences. Man, I somehow stored that in my brain in under 24 hours. Wow. And I went in there in front of 6 people and tried out. And, man, I didn't skip a beat. I'm still surprised. You could tell in my voice how I'm talking right now.
Like the whole thing?
The whole thing. I stored it in my memory bank, and I said it without looking at the paper, and they could not believe that I memorized. Yeah. Memorized. And I did, somehow I did. But anyway, that's how I got it. And a couple of people tried out. And honestly, I was really scared and nervous. I don't know if you asked for all this information, but I was really scared and nervous. Even though I had been in front of people, like doing music is kind of different. You know what you're going to say. But man, in front of 60,000 people. I've been a fan at that time. I had been a fan like maybe around 15 years or so. Yeah. And it's like, man, I would have a microphone in front of 60,000 people. And I don't really get nervous and scared, but I was really nervous when the opportunity presented itself. And I was almost okay with saying that I almost had it. Yeah. Like if I wouldn't have gotten it, and I just would have bragged to my friends and family saying, man, I was almost a game day host. Right. Yeah. So that's how it happened.
What was that first game like? Who was that first game?
The first game, man, that's 3 years ago. Let me see. I want to say it was one of those Louisiana teams. Okay. I just remember the first game was unreal. Honestly, the first season, it's still unreal right now. Even right now, I tell my wife, man, can you believe? I mean, there's days where I just like, it just hit me. Babe, can you believe I'm the game day host for Oklahoma State? So, but that first year was, I wasn't relaxed. I was really intense. I got to make sure I say everything right.
Yeah.
And it was just unreal, man. The very first time I did Orange Power, I just really thought I was going to pass out. Because I just, I pack a lot of energy, man, and just like, just now I can lead the Orange Power chant.
Yeah.
My God, what is this that's going on? And, but yeah, man, I mean, that first game, I just remember having to go to the restroom a couple of times.
Oh, yeah.
Before I went out there, and everybody says, man, you seem so comfortable. I'm like, I am comfortable, but I get nervous just like anybody else.
Right. Yeah. We had, I had Malcolm Tubbs on the podcast.
Yeah.
And Malcolm was saying like the first time he went out to his first Thunder game when they were in Tulsa.
Yeah.
And he's like, words they wouldn't come out. Like, and the guy's in his ear, like, you can speak now. And now obviously he's down at OU doing the game day stuff at OU. So that's awesome.
That's a big deal. That's cool.
That's awesome. You guys know each other and can bounce back some stuff for sure. But so let's go back. Like, were you born and raised here?
Yes, I'm born and raised in Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then brothers, sisters?
So I have 2 older brothers and 1 younger brother. Grew up with my 2 older brothers in the same house. We actually grew up in Midwest City. And mom and dad, but my mom raised me. Pretty much single parent, tough childhood, That's one reason I love to share my stories, because I had a really tough childhood, and I was blessed to be able to make it out of that and do something positive with my life. But yeah, man, brothers, I'm married. I've been married 19 years. It will be 20 in June. Son and daughter, Les the second.
Yeah.
And our daughter, Layla, they are 21 and 17. And man, Air Force. Well, you served in the Air Force, man, 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So growing up, like you said, you pretty tough childhood growing up. Is that kind of how like the music scene came into you growing up through childhood? Like you said, you're an artist, you're a rapper. Where does that fit in as well?
Well, music, growing up, having my brothers playing, I grew up in a very religious home, man, and so my brothers would have to sneak and play music when my mom was gone. And drums is my first love. I play the drums. My brothers play the drums. So that was the first, I guess, being introduced to music was through the drums. We beat on pots and pans. And then, back then in the 80s, that's when hip hop was really taking off. And so, when I was, this is a fun fact that I've done several podcasts. I've never said this before.
Exclusive.
So
here
this
we
is
go.
exclusive right here. I actually was in a rap group in middle school.
Okay.
I went to Rogers Middle School. It's previous to me getting kicked out of school.
Yeah.
But I went to Rogers Middle School, and I was in a rap group called Reality. And my name was Lemon Drop.
Lemon Drop.
Lemon Drop. And my friend, my best friend, Michael, his name was Chocolate Drop, and we had 2 other rappers in it called Reality. I mean, we was shopping our music to all kind of record labels and everything. And I actually even kind of remember my rap. That's a shame. But yeah, so anyway, yes and no. It came from the tough childhood. It helped produce lyrics for my music. Because a lot of times we let our pain various ways, and music was a avenue for me to just write about reality, my life. And so that kind of introduced me to it between my brothers with music, and then growing up as well around that, and then being in a rap group in middle school. And then I let rap go for a long time. I wasn't like a kid that just was in the lunchroom rapping. I don't have that story, somebody beating on the lunchroom table. I really wasn't that guy. Drums was my life. I loved drums, and I loved acting. And then I got back into rapping, I guess, around 2002, 2003 is when I started rapping again.
So raised in quite a religious home, was were you doing music at church as well? Were you playing drums at church and stuff?
Yes. I played the drums. I still remember the very first time that my mom. I played with my brothers. They were in the marching band. That's where I got the foundation. And then one time, our church was having like a talent show or something like that, and I didn't enter it. And then my mom, just in front of everybody, she stood up. She was like, "Let's get on the drums." And so I had to get on the drums.
Yeah.
I just remember my heart going 100 miles per hour. I remember being off beat, and I never hit the bass drum. I just was using my hands, hitting the snare and the hi-hat. But when she did that, man, it just opened up the floodgate, man, because I'm like, I really have a gift, and it's really not as scary as it seemed.
Right.
And so, yeah, man, growing up, I grew up playing the drums in church, and I was really good. I actually played professionally at 16, 17, 18. Whenever a gospel artist would come into Oklahoma, a lot of times I would be the drummer that would play for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're obviously very good at it.
Oh, yeah, man. I tell people all the time, I'm a very humble guy.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the drums and cooking out, I kind of lose my humility.
Yeah.
Because I was really, 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 really good. I was one of those drummers with an attitude. I knew I was good. I mean, kind of like drumline. That's my life, too, because I really love the marching band, being in a historical black college where you did all the tricks with the drumsticks and
that
all
stuff's
that.
unbelievable how you do that.
Yeah, man, I had my drumsticks out last night.
Yeah.
And my wife was just staring at me. It almost like took us back to 20 years ago, how she looked at me when I played the drums then. It was like a cool moment because I hadn't really picked up sticks in a while.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So I grew up playing in the church and in the marching band, yeah.
Yeah. And so you played at college as well then?
Yes, sir. So I'm going to cut this on silent. So I went to Millwood High School. I grew up in Millwood City, got kicked out of school in 7th grade, so I transferred to Millwood High School. That's where I graduated from, and I was in a band there. And then I went to Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Okay.
That was the first college I went to. I lasted about a month and a half, got into a big fight. And as you could tell, I had some childhood trauma.
Yeah.
And a lot of hazing goes on, and I wasn't for anybody hazing me at that time, and so I went to Southern, and then I got into some problems there. Came back and went to Langston University, and I played in the band at both of those schools, and that was my life. But when I came back to Oklahoma, it forced me to face what was my identity. I really had an identity. It impacted my life on like outside of band, because one day drums will end, because in the beginning it was just drums. One day drums will end. What will be your identity then? And so I came back and went to Langston, man, and then I had our son. That's why I went to the Air Force, because we had our son, and since my dad didn't really play a huge role in my life as a young person, I made a vow to my at that time fiance that I will be able to provide and make sure that I'm there in the life of my son. So that's why I entered the Air Force.
So why Air Force?
Well, actually, man, I mean, it's a funny story, man. I'm going to make it short as possible. I was at that time, my girlfriend, Mary, I was at her house, which is my wife now. And a good friend that I grew up in church, and he went to Millwood. He came over there, he thought he was Tupac. He came over there, and the tank top is pretty funny. He really actually looked like Tupac, and he thought he was Tupac reincarnated. But he came over there to holler at her, to get her digits, to see what's up, try to make her his girl. And he saw me over there. He was like, Les, what's up? I'm like, T, what's up?
Yeah.
And he was telling me about that time, how much money he was making and how he was in the Air Force. And I was like, boom. I mean, it wasn't a thing of, now I come from a family of military people, but most of them are Army. My dad was Army, his brothers was Army, my cousin's Army, my oldest brother went to the Army. But it wasn't a thing of, man, I like Air Force over anything else. But once I got in, I understood that the Air Force, I fit that profile more than anything else,
Okay.
because Air Force is really about paying attention to detail.
So it was like right time, right place.
It was right time, right place. Man, he talked to me. We were having our son, and I'm like, I was working at Mathis Brothers, and I'm like, I know I can't do that forever. And I felt like I really wasn't college material, and I didn't want to wait 3 or 4 years to make money. And who's to say I would make money in 3 or
Right.
4 years? So right time, right place. He introduced me to the Air Force, and one of the best things that ever happened to my life was joining the Air Force. It really changed the trajectory of my life.
Yeah. So what did you do in the Air Force?
So in the Air Force, I was an accountant. It's pretty funny because I really like to look at people's reaction when I say that, because accountants are usually, now I'm not putting accountants in a box, but usually
We can't all be Ben Affleck shooting people, right, and killing people. That's
yes, exactly.
That's what every accountant dreams to be.
But usually, they're a little bit more reserved, or not as outgoing. And I'm loud.
Right.
I'm crazy. I'm the life of the party. I have a lot of energy. But yeah, I was an accountant. Math was the only subject I was good at growing up, and that's what I did in the military for 18 years. But a year and a half of that, 2 years of that, I was a chaplain assistant. And then I went back to finance, and so I did accounting, and so yeah, and I deployed in everything as an accountant.
Yeah, it's interesting that did you just naturally take to math? Because when you speak to most kids or just people who grew up,
Yeah.
I just didn't like math, so I sucked at it.
Yeah.
And I sucked at it because I didn't like it.
Yeah,
One
I
of
got
those.
you. Yeah. Well, in 6th grade, I noticed that I learned it pretty easily. But in 6th grade, I had a teacher that noticed that I had a gift in math. And she actually started working with me more and more, and then put me in a math competition, to the point where I ended up representing Oklahoma against other kids in other states in math competitions in 6th grade. So I just took to it naturally. It wasn't a thing that I loved to do, or it wasn't a thing of, I'm going to master this, I'm going to put all the effort in. I just had a natural ability. It's almost like, it's kind of funny because I'm not the most articulate person in the world, so it's like, I'm great in math, but my English is horrible. My grammar is bad, but hey, you can give me some paper and I can do some numbers with a pencil without a calculator.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do it now, but then I could.
When you said you did 20 years in the Navy, in the Air Force,
Yes.
and you deployed a few times for that?
Yeah, I deployed. So I deployed to Kuwait and Iraq, 2006. I don't want to start it off with this, but it's the truth. I miss Thanksgiving. I miss Christmas, New Year's Eve, and New Year's Day. I deployed. I was in Ali Salim, Kuwait, and that was Operation Enduring Freedom. And so a lot of times people think the Air Force is just all about the planes, but it's less than 1% of the people in the Air Force that fly. So many things, no different than a business. When I tell people, you think about the Air Force, think about a business. You have to have people with the money. You have to have the people that clean up. You got to have the people that cook the food. You got to have the people that handle all the paperwork. The customer service. It's no different than what we do in civilian life. Everything in civilian life has to be taken care of in the military. And so it's no positions really that's non-deployable. So over there, basically I was a cashier. So I would convert money to Kuwaiti dinar or to U.S. dollars, and we had to pay bills. You got to pay bills, accounts payable, accounts receivable, all those things. Because really, when you're in another country, we're leasing. Those bases aren't permanent. Even though we're building on them, we're leasing that. We're renting that from that country. And that's the role I played over there.
Yeah. What comes to mind is the scene from the movie War Dogs. You seen that movie?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's with Miles Teller and the guy. I can't remember his name. And there's a scene in that movie. They deliver these guns to this place in Iraq, and then they get paid while they get there.
Okay.
But also, there's an accountant sat at a wooden table, and behind him there's just pallets of cash, and he's like, "How much do you want?" And he just kind of
I had a drawer of cash.
Yeah. I assume you didn't have pallets of cash.
Yeah, I didn't have pallets of cash.
Yeah.
I had a lot of money. I had several million right there in the cage by me, but no, I didn't have.
What was that like going over there? I assume you didn't really travel much growing up. So
No,
going away, away from family and away from home, especially across, to a
Yeah.
war zone. Like, what was that like?
Well, I didn't realize how. At first, I thought everything was fine. I felt good. I felt good about it. I'm like, man, I'm gonna serve my country. But on the flight over there, when I got on the plane with other service members from, I feel like I'm just going back to it in my head right now. But when I got on the plane and I saw people in the Marines, the Navy, the Army, so many people in the Air Force, and I saw various ages, man, different uniforms, that's when it hit me, man.
Yeah.
When I got on the plane on a big 757, seeing all these people in the military, I'm like, wow. I'm like, this is real. And so I remember Talladega Nights helped me out. Thank you,
The
Will.
movie?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Will Ferrell. Thank you, Will Ferrell. The movie Talladega Nights helped me out because it just brought a calm over me, and I laughed so hard. Like, I watched that movie over and over and over. I'm thinking about the part right now when he was doing the interview and his hands kept on coming up in the screen. Like, that movie was hilarious. Thanks again, Will Ferrell. And so, but yeah, and then it hit me that, that was going on, and I don't really, growing up, because I grew up in a really tough or bad neighborhood, my anxiety level was up pretty high while I was over there, because being over there with foreign people, I don't know their language. I don't, they can talk where I can't understand them. It was a tough adjustment for me. Because I just didn't feel safe, man. And I wasn't used to, in Oklahoma, we're kind of sheltered. We don't have a lot of various nationalities here. And there it's like a melting pot. And so I'm interacting and talking to people, and I remember I didn't even want to drink Gatorade bottle because it was written in Arabic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I'm not drinking this Gatorade because I don't know if something's been done to it or whatever. And so it was a challenge, man. And then being away from my family, man, I remember a week after I was there, our fence fell and our dog got out, man, and my wife called me. Well, she didn't call me. I had to call her.
Yeah.
But she emailed me and I called her, and crying because our dog got out. And it was really tough because I'm a family person, I'm very intentional with my wife and kids. And it's really hard on a family. It's hard on you mentally. But if I'm being real with you, while I was there, God helped me quickly realize that I had an assignment while I was there, and some amazing things happened. They had like a desert idol, like American Idol. They had a desert idol, and I remember like 3 days after, I slept for 2 days, seriously. And then my office entered me in this desert idol. And at that time, I was in a rap group called Mobsters of Light. That was my first album, Church Shaker. And man, they entered me in this desert idol, and everyone is getting up there doing. Now, here's the thing: like in Aliyah Salim is really established, so they had a legit auditorium with legit sound, music, huge stage, and everything. And you had to, it's just like American Idol, and I'm seeing all these people doing covers and everybody's loving it. And I'm like, man, I have to do original music, because it's
no
whack.
one's not gonna know what you.
Yeah, and it's whack for a rapper to get up there and do a cover. What? I'm not about to get up there and rap nothing but a G thing or something, right? A song by Lecrae or whatever. So anyway, I had this song called Growing Pains. It was a song about my life where I talk about my tough childhood, and then how I had to adjust on being a husband and a father. In the second verse, marriage was tough for me at first because I didn't have that growing up and I didn't see it much. So I had to learn how to do that. And then in the end of the songs, it talks about the triumph, about how I got to where I'm at now. And man, I did that song. When I tell you, it had to be at least 500 people in the auditorium. Nobody was sitting down.
Yeah.
Nobody was sitting down. When I tell you, it blew me away, a standing ovation to music they had never heard before. But what it is, they felt the spirit behind the song. They felt they can just, because I was running all around the stage and jumping around and stuff. And I'll never forget the commander, this guy, probably 55-year-old Caucasian man, and he he said some of my lyrics. Like when we got done, the judges had to say whatever, and he said there's a part in there that say I might have did what they said I did, but I'm not who they say I am. Mm-hmm. And he said that, man. And when he said that, everybody went crazy. But anyway, at that moment, I realized, Les, you have an assignment here to just love on people, man. I kind of have this. I've been blessed with the ability to just kind of, it's not bragging. It's just a gift that God has given me to be able to make people feel comfortable and welcome, man. And so from that moment forward, honestly, it sucked being gone, but knowing that it was something bigger than just serving my country, which is huge already, but also knowing that you're here to impact people's lives and help other people, that's when I was like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine the look on their face when and obviously, like, you're an accountant, but I bet there were people that just only interacted with you as an accountant and saw a little bit of your spark, but then when they saw you on stage, they were like,
they was like,
that's
what?
a totally different person.
and it's like I transformed. You're right. There was like totally different person. And over there, I kind of hate to compare it to being in jail, mm-hmm. but when you're deployed, it's almost like being in jail because you can't go anywhere. And I mean, you're limited to the base. And so anything can like to them, I was famous. The fact that they could go Google me, they were like, oh, this guy is famous, but they didn't find that out until after I performed. That's when they were like, who is this guy? And it was actually pretty funny, man, because half the base knew me. And, and it was just a cool thing to see. But, yeah, they were like, whoa. So when people would come to my counter, they'd be like, hey, man, bust the flow, man. We want to hear something. So I'm in my military uniform, like, busting a rhyme, man, and thankfully my supervisor, they were cool with that. They didn't care, They thought it was funny, too.
I'm sure that helped, like, just make the time go by a little faster, make every day better.
Yep.
With people, like I said, coming to you and knowing that and, like, just,
yeah. It did. And, you give me a platform, man, I'm not really afraid of it. So, I mean, I would stand on a desk and perform and act silly with them. It's just, like you said, helping the day pass.
Yeah.
And every one of us, we're away from our family. So anything that can ease some of that, is worth it.
How long was that tour?
That tour right there was 3 months. Yeah, so I was gone for 3 months, and at that time, man, the Army had extended from 12 to 15 years. So, I mean, like I told you, it's kind of like being in jail. So people were like, man, how much time you got? How much time you got left? And I did not want to tell people because, there were people that got there before me and was going to be leaving like a year later. Yeah. And I was like, man, I'm here till January. I was saying real low. But that tour right there was 3 months. And so, yeah, so I couldn't even imagine being gone a year.
Right, and then the second tour, was that another 3 month one as well?
Yeah, that was 3 months. So back then, the Air Force really a tour was pretty much 2 to 4 months. They would let you split, so you could kind of split with someone else. The tour was normally 4 months. But you could split the time with people. I mean, you can't do that now.
Yeah.
But back then you could, and that's one thing I loved about the Air Force is they try to make sure that everyone wasn't gone as long.
Yeah, and then so how you come home, right, and you go back to just doing Air Force stuff on base here.
Yeah.
Doing account stuff, back to normal life. You could see your wife, you could see your kids and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, was there quite a big gap between you going on on the tours, or were they fairly close together?
No, they were separate. One was 2000 to end of 2004. The second one was the end of 2006.
Okay.
So it was a break in between both of them, and part of the thing that's not talked about in the military is how hard it is on the family that's at home. Because the wife or the husband that's at home, they have to be mom and dad. They have to take care of everything. So thankfully, I'm blessed to have a wife that's very understanding and walks in grace. And so for my home, it wasn't like really hard.
Yeah.
She had a great support system.
Especially the kids were really young then.
Yeah, our kids were young. I mean, 2004, our kids was 7 and 4, something like that. And so, or maybe 6 and 3. But yeah, she had a really great support system around her. So the transition was was pretty cool. And I grew a lot both times that I deployed. I grew a lot. So.
And then, so, you get to a time where you've done your time and you get to come out of the military. What are you thinking? Oh, sorry, come out of the Air Force. What are you thinking, like, when you're coming out? Like, you're planning the rest of your life, right? Your wife's happy to have you do something else or whatever it is, and you get.
You talking about when I retired?
Yeah.
Okay,
so what, like, what was that whole like planning stage like?
Man,
what am I gonna get into, kind of thing?
I couldn't have planned this any better, man. When I tell you that my transition. You see how my posture changed, man? Because I'm excited about this. This season of life, I'm crazy excited. I didn't have to do anything. And that's usually not the case. For me, I've always been a dreamer. I've always been a thinker. I've always been a person to evaluate my life and to assess my life and recreate myself. So I was never really mentally and emotionally attached to the military, where that was my only thing in life. I had been doing music. I played the drums for a group where we traveled. We played at the Super Bowl. All these things happened. I had released the album. I did stage plays. All these things happened while I was in the military. So when it was time to go, this is what happened. When I knew time was coming, I had already been running a mentoring program here under Youth for Christ here in the city. And so we're in Millwood, Douglas, John Marshall, Northeast and Centennial before they shut down. So I had been doing that super part-time for maybe 8 years at the time. And they had already been courting me about coming on full-time. And so I thought I had 2 more years left in the Air Force, but actually I got an opportunity to be able to retire early. And so, man, since they had already been talking to me, I'm like, man, I'm in the Air Force. I'm not leaving the Air Force for this. I could still work part-time and mentor. Man, when I got the news that I was retiring and I told them, they were elated. They were happy. Like, yes, you can come on full-time. So, look, I didn't have to look for that job. And then at the same time, 6 months before I retired, that's when I got the OSU job. So, I mean, both jobs came to me where I didn't have to hustle and fill out job applications. I wonder, man, what am I going to do next? This is what I tell people. I pretty much went from work to purpose. Excuse me, because my desire in life is to impact the next generation and fulfill my life by just fulfilling my purpose and helping other people. Like, I love helping other people. Yeah. I'm real big on the community. And so the transition for me, was easy. And I almost feel bad when I talk to other people in the military because they have like withdrawals or you go from this structure or people esteeming you a certain way based off of your rank to being a regular civilian. I mean, so for some people it's really hard, but for me, I've always marched to the beat of my own drum and always stayed true to myself. And I don't want to sound like I have it all together, but that part that you're asking about, I couldn't have, like, if God would have said, man, at 5 years old, write down what you want to do when you retire from the military, I couldn't have written it any better. Yeah.
Well, going back, you said you played the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So
tell me about that, because like that's coming up, right? That's like we're in that time of the year now. Like that's a huge deal.
So I used to play the drums for a group. Man, I'm trying to think. What's the name of the group? Hold on, I'm about to tell you. It's gonna come to me. Anyway, it's gonna come to me. Yeah. So I played the drums for a group and based here out of Oklahoma, and it was so cool how it came together. I remember one of the songs was Pressure and Pain. The name of the group is going to come to me. I know it is. But so I played the drums, and it's this guy that actually played for Motown that lived here, and he played the bass. And then there was a guy that could sing and 2 that can rap. And it was like gumbo, man. I mean, and at that time I wasn't playing the drums, and then they was looking for a drummer, and I was wanting to get back into playing the drums, and I had bought this drum set. We came together. We created some great. Man, this music was before its time.
Yeah.
I mean, we stayed booked in Oklahoma like crazy. But anyway, we had an opportunity. I forgot what Super Bowl it was, but it was 2005, the one that was in Jacksonville, Florida. And so we were booked, man, to play at the Super Bowl, and Black Eyed Peas was there, and a huge opportunity for us to play there. We didn't have any money. We didn't have any sponsors. So we went there on this super broke down 1942 charter bus, man. It was pretty funny.
Patriots and Eagles. The Patriots won. That's what it was.
That's so we were there 2005, and Black Eyed Peas was there too. And so it was a huge opportunity that we played at the Super Bowl. We played in a couple of clubs as well. But that was one to remember. And maybe shortly after that, man, I stopped playing the drums for them. But they went on to travel the world. They did. When I think about it, it's like, man, I kind of wish I would have stayed in for a little bit. But man, I was just hoping that the name of the group was gonna come to me, man. But
So when were you on the field playing?
So no. It was like the fan interaction outside.
Yeah.
It was the fan interaction, like they do at Super Bowls. They do concerts outside of the stadium. So we got to play outside of the stadium on a huge stage. And as you could tell, I have a lot of energy. So, man, I like rip my tank top off. I would twirl my sticks. When I would break my sticks, I would like sign them and give them to people. I was for real. In my mind, I was a rock star. So, like, I literally would like kick the cymbals with my foot, man, and twirl my sticks and for real, like rip my shirt off type stuff, man. So, I was a show drummer to say the least, man.
Do you miss that side of things, like the drumming music side?
I do. I miss it because when I played the drums, it's not a lot of times where I just really feel free, because all of us were like, oh, I'm free, but you have something kind of holding you down, or whether it be rules or whether it be oh, I got to consider what people are thinking, this and that. Man, when I play the drums, that's probably the freest. At that moment is where I'm like super free. And so I do miss playing the drums because my personality, I'm very demonstrative and aggressive and like to have fun. And so on the drums, it's like, man, that was an outlet that I do miss. But I started doing that through my music too. Whenever I perform, I'm the guy that'll jump on the speakers. I jump over chairs, not as much as I used to because, I got old man knees now, but I used to be that guy that would run and do a flip and stuff.
Yeah. And kind of to bring it like to present day, you're a part of this co-founder of Hope is Culture, right?
Yes, sir.
So tell us about that, because that's recent. That's
recent.
Really recent.
That's super recent, man. So the end of last year, me and 4 other people, which is Vernon, Marcus Jackson, Vernon Diaz, Marcus Jackson, David Skidmore, and Michael Carnuccio, we came together. We just wanted to, and all of us play a different role, but we wanted to try to raise money to help nonprofits. So I take about 50 kids to camp every summer, which is, most of the kids we deal with, myself and Marcus, are from they're at-risk kids and don't have much fun. So we have to raise the money to take them. And so we said, what can we do? We was thinking of one event. What can we do to raise money? And man, within under 40 days, we went from that to starting a complete company, to starting a complete clothing line, to help us to be able to raise money for the community. So Hope Culture is about us being light, man. Just being light in the city and bringing hope to the city. When a person loses hope, man, when you don't have hope, what do you have really? And so we just want to be able to spread the love of hope through our entire city. And it's almost like someone compared what we're doing to MAPS just without politics. And so right now, it's hopeculture.us. We call it .us on purpose. Hopeculture.us. Half of everything that anyone purchase goes to the community. Half of, if you pay $20 for a t-shirt, $10 go to the community. And you say, what does the community looks like? It's about helping the widow mom or dad that has kids and they need help in their home. They need help with the electricity. It's the kids that need scholarships to go to school. It's that entrepreneur that may have a business and say, you know what, I have this business that I want to get off the ground. It takes $30,000, but I only have $20,000. I need $10,000. So it's helping that. So it's various things in the community and other nonprofit organization that's boots on the ground that's really making a difference with no attachment. That's the thing is our motive is so pure and we just want to be a beacon of light and help people that, you know, we did a soft launch. That's what I was saying under 40 days.
Yeah.
We did a soft launch in December and man, we had 80 people there. Some of the most influential people here in the city were there. And it just happened so quick. And it's moving right now. I mean, we had a meeting today. We have something coming. We want to, let me tell you this. So we want to impact 10%. It takes 10% to start a revolution. Yeah. It takes 10% to change anything. You know, if I walk into Walmart and they hire me today, if I can influence 10% of the employees to dislike a supervisor or to like a supervisor, that's usually where everyone will follow that. And so our goal is we have 634,000 people here in the city. We want to impact 10% of the people by inspiring them to wear hope culture merchandise and just to infuse them with hope. And like I said, 50% of everything that comes in goes into the community. It just being the hands and feet, man. It just being a blessing to our city. That's what hope culture. So hope is the culture. That's really pretty much what it's about. And your shirt is your flag. You know, we talked about the military in the days of old. Whenever you conquered land, you planted a flag. You had a certain ceremony to plant the flag. So basically, you know, the T-shirt or the hoodie or the hat, whatever you're wearing, is the flag. You know, just saying I represent hope in my city.
Yeah. And then is there going to be like a full event launch coming? You said a soft launch. When's the full one coming?
Yeah, so we're working towards having a huge event in August. Okay. And so we did a soft launch in December. We're looking at having an event in February. So basically it'll be an event every quarter leading up to August. That's our whole point. Is to lead up to August. So we had a soft launch, then we're going to have something around Valentine's Day. Then we're actually partnering with Oklahoma City Public Schools. That's going to be a big thing that I don't want to let the cat out the bag yet, but that's going on in May. That's huge. So we're going to have several events. Like I'm doing an album release in March. Hope Culture will sponsor that as well. So it's just various things just to tap into various things in the city up to our big event in August. Yeah.
And you were saying, you know, you do a lot of things. You're a motivational speaker and you do the OSU game days and stuff. And also now that like I said, you have an album coming out, you're still doing a lot of music stuff.
Yeah.
I assume that's never going to end, right?
It's what?
It's not going to end. Like that's a huge passion of yours. You're going to keep doing it.
Yes. So music will end at some point. I'm actually thinking this album will be my 4th album. I'm thinking it may be my last album. It won't be my last music that I do. There's a difference. So
that's what I meant. Yeah.
So everything, you're right. Everything that I'm part of right now, OSU, Hope Culture, I mentor in the community, you know, that type of thing. I'm actually writing a book right now too. I know I want to seem like, oh man, he's doing everything, but I'm at a point in my life when I retired, I said it's time for me to reinvent myself, and I challenged myself to empty myself out. And so everything that I'm part of now, I plan on continuing just that with music. I know at some point in time, I know Jay-Z is 40 whatever, 47, 48 rapping. I don't want to be 47, 48 rapping. It's just, you know, I'm kind of from the era that at some point you have to let it go. And I'm 41, even though I know I don't look it. I'm just, but I'm 41. And so this album is actually going to be, it's called Vertical. I believe it'll be my best album that I've done too. Yeah.
Just like a fine wine, right?
Fine wine, it just get better. It gets better and gets better. And it's taken me 3 years. Yeah. The other albums, I did them in under 6 months, each one, which is like lightning speed, super fast. This one has taken me 3 years, and part of that is just because I'm involved with so many things.
A lot more meaning in it.
Yeah, a lot more meaning, and usually an album can kind of, when you do an album fast, it can almost kind of sound the same. What I love about this album is, man, track 1 to track 13 or 14 be totally different. It just depends on what season I was, in my life, and my last 2 songs, Freedom and Team America, they were very, very uplifting songs. So we'll see.
Yeah. And that's Christian-based rap?
Yeah, so I do Christian-based rap. I consider myself a Christian rapper for sure. Some of the things, like when I did my song Freedom, that was more so about current events that's happening. That song was more so about just to kind of address shootings and things like that. And then Team America was more about like, man, we need to unify. Even though my brother and sister may not look like me, may not believe like me, may not talk like me, but that doesn't mean we have to hate each other. And so, yes, I'm a Christian-based rapper, and that's what I do.
Before we go, I want to talk about the recent post that you just put on Instagram, because I'm a car guy.
Okay.
I see the bright orange.
Yeah.
Is that Camaro?
America's brightest orange.
America's brightest orange Camaro?
Yeah. Well, no, it's a Pontiac Firebird.
Okay.
Yeah. So, man, I'm really, really into old cars, and I've owned a 71 Mustang and a 73, and I'm really a Ford guy. So you're looking at that Pontiac
This is different for you then, yeah.
So different. When I say it's different, I struggle with it. When I went to look at it, I'm like, it's not a Ford. It's not a Ford. And I'm just one of those guys that's loyal. I wear Adidas, and I'm anyway. So anyway, my mother, she passed in 2010 from cancer, and she left my brothers and I an investment, and recently that paid out, and so I'm like, I want to get something where I could say my mother got this for me.
Gotcha.
And she knows that her sons absolutely love the old cars, man. We love. I mean, my little brother, he has a 71 Pontiac Firebird, and my other brother has a 72 Cutlass. So anyway, man, shout out to my little brother. He found it in Kansas, and with it being orange, I think he knew what he was doing.
Yeah,
because he's a Chevy guy, he's a Pontiac, so he's bragging right now that he talked his older brother into
taking you away from Ford.
Yeah, taking me away from Ford. But man, this thing is clean. It has a 400 in it. Now I'm gonna have to learn all the. I know everything about Ford, so I'm having to learn.
Yeah.
So forgive me if I say it wrong, but it has a 400 in it. The engine was recently rebuilt, man. About $6,000 into the engine, and the car's in really, really good shape. And it's orange, so it's going to 100% be an OSU vehicle.
This is the new game day vehicle.
This is. I just might pull up to Boone Pickens Stadium in this car.
Yeah.
I can't get it on the field, but I can
just
at least,
once, just for one photo shoot. That's all you need.
Yeah, I may have to drive it in when we do the homecoming parade or something like that. But yeah, man, I just recently got it. I purchased it this past weekend, and it'll mean a lot. It means a lot to me. It's sentimental. And man, I'm looking forward to really get it going. And it's fast, man. I mean, kick you back in the seat fast. You stomp on that thing and it's like throw your head back. Yeah, man, I gotta have that power.
Yeah,
gotta have that power.
That's awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate you giving up the time to come on the podcast, share your story, talk about OSU. Talk about going in the Air Force, and dropping an exclusive of you having a rap crew in middle school.
Reality.
Man,
that was like 85 or something like that. 80. No. That would have been 91.
Yeah.
91.
No, we appreciate it. And I know all the listeners appreciate it. And now they'll have a lot more context when they see you at OSU games on the microphone, with your orange glasses, or, at basketball games or whatever it is. So how can people reach out? How can they follow you? And also how can they help with Hopeless Culture as well?
Okay, so you can follow me on Instagram as lesthomas.senior, SR, And then my Twitter and my Facebook fan page is Blessed the Mic with one S, BLESTHEMIC. I'm in the process of switching everything over to LesThomas.Senior. But that's how you can contact me. My email is LesThomasOKC@gmail.com. And then how you can help is, one, I'm always looking for mentors to help me with young people over here on the east side of Oklahoma City. And then Hope Culture, you can follow us at hopeculture.us. That is hopeculture.us. Our website is hopeculture.us. Instagram and Twitter is hopeculture.us. And you can help us by, like I said, by purchasing a t-shirt. You know, if you're about, hey, I want to be able to help with planting hope in my city. Or if you say, you know what, I may have an avenue where we can, collaborate on some things, please reach out to us. That is hopeculture.us. Remember, everything that you purchase, whether it be a hoodie like the hoodie I have on now, the hat, t-shirt, 50%. That's not after bills are paid. 50% from the jump off the top goes into the community.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Well, man, I really appreciate it. Thanks for listening, guys. And I'll put all the links that Les just described down below so you can easily go down and click on them and get involved. And we will see you next episode. Cheers.
Thank you.
This podcast was presented by the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, who've been telling Oklahoma's story through its people since 1927. Follow them online at oklahomahof.com and definitely on Instagram at OklahomaHOF.
Thank you for listening. We are inspired by those around us and hope that you are too. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review so we can keep telling your stories. For more great Oklahoma content, follow This Is Oklahoma on Facebook and Instagram.